Do you want to go first?
No, I'm asking you the question.
Okay.
All right, let's see what they have for us.
Yep. Do you want to go first?
All right, sure, I'll go again. Hello, my name is Kimberly. I am in my 4th and final year of IT and creative industries with majors in computer science and interaction design. I'm also this year's president of Women in Technology.
And hi, my name's Ella. I am in my final year of Bachelor of Science, majoring in biology and minoring in wildlife ecology and earth science.
Hi, my name's Erin. I'm in my final year of a Bachelor of Science, majoring in chemistry and physics.
Hi, I'm Dom. I'm in my first year of engineering and mathematics. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
Ooh, I wanted to be the next David Attenborough. I memorized all of his documentaries. I had all the National Geographics. I can still tell you all the animals on the documentaries. But he took that job, and there's not really another job, so you can't be the next David Attenborough. So I decided instead to go into chemistry and physics. And what about you?
Funnily enough, I was pretty ambitious. I was thinking about doing part-time policeman, part-time teacher.
Oh, just
Cop
like
by night.
a Batman, you
yeah.
know, billionaire.
Back to back.
Yep.
Turns out it's not the most feasible job, but I've kind of landed here, and there's still that opportunity, I guess, to go into one of those paths because people need to teach how to be a software engineer. People need to help police just about everything and cybercrime. So that's
technology.
Yeah, because it's a big area coming up is how to actually stay safe when you got to predict what's going to happen, and you can't really do that. So policing's a big part of it. I'm still thinking of that as an opportunity.
You still live that dual life.
When I was really little, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then I grew up in Fiji, so we spent a lot of time on the reefs and stuff. And then I found out that you could be a marine biologist, and that was like working on coral reefs and with marine species. And I was like, that's what I want to be. Since I was 7, I was like, that's it.
That's so interesting. To me, I think I just wanted to be a professional dancer, or just to be on the stage at all times. I love the lights and the cameras and the action.
Be the center of attention.
Yeah, pretty much. What subjects did you study at school, and do you think those subjects help you to prepare to study STEM at uni?
Absolutely.
Okay, it was a while ago. I did English, study of religion, maths B, and my electives were information technology systems, graphics, and physics. And they definitely helped me with what I'm doing now at uni because everything just fused together, all the skills. What about you?
Mine was similar. I did chemistry, biology, English, maths, and French. And I didn't use my French degree, my French subject, but the maths, the science subjects as well really helped me in my first year especially, because I found that it was very similar content from your first year of uni to what you did in high school.
Yeah,
so
for
I found that
sure.
really helpful.
So I came through ATAR in the first year, so it might be slightly different to you, but I studied ancient. I studied specialist mathematics, physics, mathematical methods, studies of religion, English, and digital solutions. So 3 of those were pretty STEM-heavy subjects, and they've absolutely prepared me because even in this first semester, I've covered all of the topics that were covered in specialist mathematics. I covered them in the first 2 weeks, actually, and then doing digital, I'm already having coding subjects as well, so understanding how code works and how to debug and problem solve, that was a really big part of it. So it's absolutely helped me. I think, I don't know what I'd do if I hadn't taken those subjects.
So it just helped with the transition a lot,
absolutely.
yeah. So I did English, I did what was called Maths B, which is now Maths Methods, Japanese, modern history, physics, what was my 6th one?
Not chemistry.
Modern history. Did I already say that? Anyway, modern history. So I believe that, of course, the chemistry and physics units were helpful, and so was the maths, but modern history actually really helped me with my report writing, with source analysis, which is extremely important in doing reports and being able to interpret scientific literature. So yeah, it's not always just the sciences and the stuff that relates to your degree. You can learn the same skills from other units.
How did you choose your course?
Well, I studied information technology systems, physics and graphics in high school, and I haven't looked back since. So I think for me, it's always been to do with technology. Like, I remember being 3, 4 years old, tinkering with little laptops and phones. I'd always steal mum and dad's, But I think
I think it's born in my blood too, because both my parents studied IT and engineering, so I got to follow in their footsteps. And no, it's been great fun, and I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, well, I stuck with QUT and this degree because I wanted to have a bit of a broader degree, because I've always wanted to do marine science, but I didn't want to come to uni, do it, and then realise, oh, I actually don't love it. I thought it was a really cool thing, and it's not. So I got a broader degree for bigger employment opportunities and that type of thing. And now I still want to do marine science, so it sort of worked out that way.
I think that's a really good way to say it, because QUT allows you to study so broadly that you get to look into different aspects of what you're studying and not have to hone down on just one skill, because there's fear that if you hone down on just one specific major, you may get bored of it, or you may, like you said, dislike it by the end. But we got to do electives, for example, where you get to study other areas. And I got to do a film unit and I got to experience what that was like, but I also managed to then understand and realign like my love for programming and design.
Yeah, definitely. You're like, oh, I've tried this and I've added to my skill set, but I still really love this, so I'm going to keep it.
That's exactly what happened,
Yeah.
It's cool.
I think everyone says a little bit of blind luck. I was always pretty interested in STEM, so I kind of thought, oh, engineering immediately. I'd like to be an engineer. Didn't really know what engineering was, but coming into grade 12, I then took specialist mathematics, and that opened me up to the understanding of maths can kind of be cool at times. But I just chucked on the maths part because I thought I may as well use my time wisely. I get an extra 2 years, a whole extra degree, so yeah.
So I worked in the rocket industry for about 3 years, and I took over a lot of the chemistry responsibilities in that job, and I was still in high school while I was doing that, so that I knew I was going to do STEM, but it really pushed me towards the chemistry side of things, and I decided I wasn't doing engineering, but
I won't take offense to that one. Why did you choose QUT?
It's extremely accessible. So I moved out when I turned 18, so and I still haven't learnt to drive, one day maybe. So I had to be able to get to uni very easily. The train is a great way. I also received the Excellence Scholarship, which was a big pushing factor. I think you did too, didn't you? Yeah.
That definitely was a bit of emphasis. It was a bit of an encouragement to actually come to uni, especially turn up to all the classes. But personally, I had 3 older brothers that have come here. 2 of them are still studying here, one in graduate diploma, one just finishing his degree, I think, this year. So I knew that I had that contact point. I had someone I could talk to, I knew I could get the bus. I already knew from their experience how to get to uni, even though it's really, really easy. Because of the bus from the top of my street, I have no excuse to be late, although I manage to sometimes. So it was kind of just that familiarity as well, because I'd already attended some classes here. I did year 11 Vice Chancellor STEM camp. I had some events in year 9. So I'd already kind of become familiar with the campus, and I knew that I wouldn't go hungry as well with the fine selection of food. Spent a bit too much money on snack packs.
Well, you're going to be here for 5 years.
Yeah, so I've got 5 years to buy snack packs.
So I have grown up in Brisbane since about 2006. And for me, QUT was just like the place to be. It just seemed so fitting. And I remember attending open days and visitor days during high school, and I felt so welcomed by QUT and all the staff members and just the facilities. It felt like this is where I was meant to be. Like, it was so welcoming. So,
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Your story's cooler though.
Yeah. I grew up in Fiji, so I knew I wanted to come back to Australia for uni. And so I looked at different unis around Australia, and then I applied to QUT and a couple other unis in Brisbane, and found I got the Elite Athlete Scholarship program with QUT, and I was like, I'm not turning that up. So I took that and came here, and was originally going to move over to another uni which did offer marine science, but I absolutely fell in love with QUT and found that I wasn't just another number, that my lecturers cared about me. There was so much support with Stimulate and tutoring programs, and it was very practical. I was comparing my degree to my friends that were at other unis, and they were doing exam after exam, and I was doing prac after prac and field work and that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna stay. I like it.
Yeah, I think QUT is more hands-on and more about the opportunities they give you, rather than here's some paper, do some study.
Ooh. Have you changed your mind about your course, major, career over time? If so, what made you change your mind to not be an engineer?
Engineers, no. I've changed about 1 million times, I think. So I initially thought I was going to go into the rocket industry, the space industry, but I've decided I now want to make more of an impact on the average person by improving our renewable resources, because of course fossil fuels are a finite resource. So I just think it's better in the long term for me to do that. I have changed from a major and 2 minors to 2 majors. I did actually do another engineering. I did industrial chemistry, which had a lot of engineering units, and it just solidified the fact that I was not an engineer. I do not have the brain to be an engineer, but
okay, right, put it that way.
yeah, I'll do it as a compliment.
I've only been here, 13 weeks, so I'm sure I have tons of time to change my mind, but I'm already having a few questions about my major. I have the privilege of not choosing until next year because of my dual degree, but I kind of came in thinking I'd go straight into software, and that was where I was going to head because I've always been really interested in coding, but I've heard about this amazing thing called electricity. So turns out it's been here the whole time and it's really interesting, but I've got so much time to choose, so I guess I'll find out.
I haven't really changed mine. I knew from about year 9 or year 10 that I wanted to go into the STEM area. Specifically in my high school, we had a class of 16 IT students in year 11 and 12, and I was the only female. So that made me even more determined to get it done and do it right. That's brought me to QUT, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I haven't changed my degree, and it's meant to be.
Yeah. I did change my major. I was originally just going to do a biology and environmental science degree, and then I did an earth science subject because you have to do all the subjects in your first semester, and I loved it. It was so interesting. My dad's actually a geologist, so I refuse to admit that I like it because it's the same as him, but I thought it was so cool, and I ended up putting it as a minor, and so yeah, that really made my degree really interesting. I really liked it.
Can you share a misconception you had about uni?
It's scary.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people I know kind of had that transitional issue where it was, because we come from a school that's even not that far away. I know it can be pretty hard for people all the way out at where you came from, but just...
Where my people.
where you came from.
Yeah.
But I only like 6 Ks from the city, it can't be that difficult, but knowing that it was actually a really welcoming place, yeah, it was a big misconception that it would be a push, that it'd be too much. Because people say that university is that much more difficult, but if it's absolutely ready and you have all that support to be ready for that transition anyway.
Yeah, see, I was one of the first, in my family and stuff, to come to uni and everything like that. And there wasn't really anyone from my high school coming to this uni or going to uni in general necessarily. And I didn't think I had the ability to survive through uni. I was very unsure about my academic abilities. You're your own worst critic, as people say. But it was a really great transition. I felt that they stepped you through everything. Of course, it was a little faster paced than high school because they were assuming you knew these things. But we have free tutoring in the library for STEM. We have all those things, so it's not like you're ever going to be left behind.
I'm yet to use Stimulate, but I know it's there. So I'm waiting for that moment.
I was mistaught that doing a double degree means doing double the work, and that is not the case. Double degree just means you add on an extra year or so, but you do the same full-time course as everyone else doing a single degree. So don't stress if you're choosing a double degree, you won't be doing double the work.
Yeah, I always like to say for double degrees, it's not double the work, it's double the employment opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's so good.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. I think mine would have to be probably that the lecturers, my misconception was that lecturers don't care about you at uni. I always thought that they just thought that I was another number. And then one time I didn't do too well in an assignment, so I asked my lecturer for help, and he spent half an hour during class teaching me how to do it and sort of helping me out. Yeah. I was like, do you actually care if I get good grades? And he's like, yeah, because I don't want to have to teach you again. And I was like, it's a good point. So
They're pretty friendly, yeah.
What is one thing you wish you'd been told before you got to uni?
Probably that it won't be like high school, how you do those set hours and you have to be there the entire time, that you can actually mix it up and do a lot of different social events.
I kind of wish I'd been told to back myself, because, understanding the differences between school and uni was so different, but I just assumed it was this big scary place with like a lot of people, a lot more students than I'd ever encountered, but it's, you know, it's just uni. It's really welcoming. I just get to do what I want. I just plan timetable what I want.
Yeah.
I have HSPs every day. Not good for my health, but we survive.
I think I wish I'd been told that you have to make your degree fun. Everyone tells you to go to uni so that you can get a job, but like you sometimes are at uni for 4 or 5 years. I wish I'd been told to enjoy it more. So, and then when I realized that you could enjoy it, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. But everyone goes, oh, uni's like the same as high school, but I wish someone had sat me down and gone, actually, it's such a great time in your life and it's really exciting, and only study what you want to study, otherwise you won't enjoy it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I wish I'd been told similar, that you need to enjoy the social aspects of uni and not just stick your head down in the books all the time, because the people that you study with and go to classes with, they end up being your future workmates and colleagues and your future supporters. So it's important to make sure you make friends along the way and enjoy it. Don't think that your graduation year is 4 or 5 years away. It'll go by before you know it.
Yeah.
So, what has been your favourite unit so far?
Well, I've only done 4 units, so slim pickings, but absolutely MXB 102. It's my abstract mathematical reasoning course, and it's run by a great professor, Adrienne Jenner, but it's really interesting because we don't actually cover maths, it's about why maths actually exists. So it's pretty weird, but it's pretty unique.
My favourite probably have to be analytical chemistry. Unfortunately, it was in COVID times, but it's really interesting to understand what a measurement is. We do it so often, and I didn't actually know that we had one object in France that is a kilogram, and that's what we put everything against to show it's a kilogram.
I had a unit that was structured really well. I wouldn't say it's the most fun, but it was the most educational for me. I did a discrete structures unit where we learnt the mathematics behind computer science, and it was structured so well by the unit coordinator and the tutors, who were all so helpful. If it hadn't been for that teaching team, I think I would have struggled in that unit.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, I feel like I've learnt a lot from it. Like I can retain that information.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can use it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My favourite unit was we got to, it was a semester-long project, and at the end you had to hand in 2 pieces of work, and there was no like exam or anything in between that. Yeah. One of them, pieces of work that you handed in, was a herbarium, so you had to collect different plants and press them down and dry them out, and then hand in like 12 different plants. You had to identify them down to species level. So it was kind of hard, but it was really cool.
Really fun.
And then the second piece was you had to do the same thing but for bugs. So you had to like catch bugs. So I literally came home from uni one day in like the second week with like a massive butterfly net, and I was like catching bugs and then you have to put them in the freezer to kill them.
Oh.
And then you like pin them like in like how you see them in a museum, on a display. You had to catch different ones from different genres and species and that kind of thing. So you couldn't just have like a whole box full of butterflies. So I did have a couple butterflies though, they were really pretty.
They're pretty. They're so pretty.
Yeah, so that was really fun.
What is your most memorable moment in a lecture?
Okay, I once had a lecturer who got so frustrated at teaching the content, he kept messing up his words. He started stomping in the middle of the lecture theatre, and it was recorded, so we could see it again over and over. He's just stomping like mad. It was fun times.
I remember in my first year, our lectures are really big, so there's like 400 people in one lecture hall. And I had a question, and I was so nervous to ask it that I wasn't listening to the question beforehand. And I was like really excited to ask this question, my first subject. And I put my hand up, and it happened to be the same question that was asked right before. And my lecturer was like, well, I just answered this one, but I suppose I'll answer it again. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I'm never asking a question again. But I ended up asking heaps of questions after that, so it was fun.
No, that's good. Yeah. Good exposure.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows about the infamous Darren Pearce in the engineering and the science fields, but he's just got so much energy. He kind of, even though I'm doing recorded lectures right now, he still runs around, he throws things, he tries to push tables that are cemented to the floor. he explains friction in some of the most entertaining ways I've ever seen. There's no specific moment I can put out, but the 9 weeks that I had him were just very entertaining.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. So I had Darren for a lot of the physics, and he just somehow makes physics so interesting.
Somehow.
Amazingly interesting. Even like he brought in the sounds, forks and everything when we were doing like waves and vibrations. He made it a lab in a lecture, and just one of the best lectures out there, I would so say.
Yeah, I've heard that from actually a lot of the people around campus as well. Everyone knows about Darren.
Yeah.
I've heard about some of his antics in the in-person lectures as well. So that absolutely has to be it. I think it's pretty common ground among most first-year engineering students.
If anything, do engineering physics for Darren.
Then you can drop out.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have an aha moment you can share?
I'm currently doing quantum physics as one of my units. And I think once you start, I'm not saying I understand quantum physics, but once you start to understand those things, everything kind of falls into place when it comes to science. You'll probably you'll cover a bit in electrical, and I feel like everything will also fall into place in that side.
I don't really know, because everything has kind of fallen into place really well. The transition's been pretty smooth, especially with having a lot of my friends come here as well. So I haven't really had the need for an aha moment just yet, but I'm sure it'll come in some future lecture that it's just really challenging me. I've heard about all the electrical engineering moments where something clicks. So I'm actually kind of excited for it, because it's that challenge, it's that problem solving that really got me to choose my course as well.
I'll have to say once you get to second year, that's when everything you learnt in first year, they're like, oh, it'll come like later. Everything just all of a sudden starts making sense.
I actually do. I have like one of those like, aha, that's so cool moments was when I discovered Stimulate. On Gardens Point campus, which is like basically like a tutoring program. You can go down and ask people who have done subjects that you've done or that you're doing, and they can help you with like assignments or problems. And I found that so helpful, especially in my first coding subject.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how to do this, and they were like, oh, I've done this, so you just do it like that. And I was like, oh my god, this is the best place ever.
They're super helpful. I love that.
Yeah.
My aha moment isn't as interesting as yours. I was going to say microwaves on campus everywhere. I think every second corner there's a microwave. So bring your own lunches. It'll save you money.
What is the most valuable thing you've learned outside of the classroom?
I've actually done quite a bit of research work and all of that with my professors. Like, I've had those opportunities, and I found the most valuable things I've learnt is how to actually work in a lab, not necessarily learn in the lab, but how it all goes, how you time manage, organise, when you've got to use certain equipment that has to be like, you have to go on a waiting list. All of that's really important, I've found.
Mine's pretty different. Mine's more about how to meet people and how to network, because a lot of that has been what it is so far. A lot of the clubs that I'm involved with run networking nights and social events. So how to meet people and make a genuine connection rather than just talking about uni or talking about that really light common connection you have is getting that deeper understanding of them. And that I also understand is a really important part of my future, is knowing how to know people. Yes. Because in the STEM field, it's so broad, you kind of have to know where to go or who to look for. So that's probably the most valuable thing for me, is actually meeting people itself. So it's not the most academic thing, but it's pretty vital to my degree.
And especially in engineering, you'll be doing a lot of group work and all of that.
Student clubs and societies, they are the biggest social aspect of university life, and that's how I met most of my friends in first year, and we've now been together 4 years doing group assignments together. So when you start your university journey with QUT, make sure you join up to social clubs and societies, because they will become quite literally your best friends for your degree.
Yeah, definitely join clubs and societies. I found that the most useful thing I learned outside of the classroom was WIL, so Work Integrated Learning. It's a program that we have at QUT where you can go out into the workforce and do some internships or some work experience and get an idea of what the industry is like outside of the classroom. I found that really helpful, and I didn't know that that was a thing before starting uni.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with that one.
How do you manage conflicting priorities such as study, work, life?
I timetable pretty heavily. I like to be organised. I get pretty anxious if I don't, quite frankly. So I know that I'll be at uni Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I work Thursday, Friday. Saturday, Sunday is study or socialising, whatever it is. But I also have to prioritise, so I know that uni has to kind of come first as well as work, but I know that they don't conflict because I've organised it that way. And then socialising and exercising, and that kind of just slots in where it can. So I do that in afternoons, in nighttime, wherever it is.
Yeah. So like I said, I do live out of home. I have for a while, so I've had to learn how to balance work, to pay bills, and also study and everything like that. You have to learn your study style. So some people like to learn a little as they go. I'm very much a crammer. So that's what I've found works for me, and I make sure I have a few weeks at the end of the semester, just cram everything in and learn it that way. But yeah, you just need to learn, you need to realize how you learn and to make sure you timetable appropriately for that.
I'm pretty different. I like to go incrementally, but then kind of revise.
You seem very organised.
I get panicked if I don't, so yeah. I try my best.
I love going to uni because I find that I can make my own timetable.
Yes.
So I can actually sort of fit everything in that I want to, as well as studying, whereas in high school I was doing high school over block periods of time and then trying to fit in things after school. This way I can do uni a couple days a week and then, train in the afternoon or go for a walk or do some part-time work, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I like that as well, that with university you can pick your own timetables. So if you prefer morning classes or if you're more of a night owl, you like the 6 p.m. classes. For me, I live off of calendars and to-do lists. Yeah. That's how I organize my stuff. So I will set out blocks and they're color-coded based off what classes I've got, when I need to watch my lectures, when I have work. Especially in my first few years doing shift work, it was you need to schedule those in and factor in when you got to go to sleep and stuff. You need to balance a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. But I think to-do lists can help you break down your tasks and make you feel really accomplished when you tick those off. You're like, I've done it, yes!
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely manageable as well. Everyone says, oh, studying full-time, you can't work. You definitely can. You do have a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you picture your career to be like?
Still holding on to that belief of part-time cop, part-time teacher. I don't actually know because most of the careers aren't actually made yet. But I picture it to be fun, to be exciting, to be pretty integrated into design and building and maths and science and STEM and whatever it is. I don't actually know. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it nonetheless.
I definitely want to work in a lab, I feel. That is my home, to be within a nice air-conditioned lab, hopefully. But yeah, I like wanting to work in renewable energies and stuff like that. I will understand I probably will have to go outside every so often, but
scary place.
Problem solving is a big part of it. I think I want to be challenged. I don't want to be doing the same menial thing every day. I want to constantly be thinking.
I like menial. It's understandable.
I want to be a marine scientist, marine biologist, so I picture myself being probably in academia or even in the workforce, but producing research that assists in coral reef development and coastal environments, sort of where I see myself going.
That's cool.
What about you?
I'm really looking forward to finding a career path that fuses both of my degrees really well. I think having that design and development considerations for a project, it really allows me to see the bigger picture and implement the best solution.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We keep hearing that 75% of jobs in the future will need STEM skills and that those skills are transferable. What does that mean to you? Hit you with a hard question.
Yeah.
We do my degree, especially in science, is very diverse. We're doing stuff in the lab, out in the field. We're also doing theory-based things, so it's all you're developing all those different skills and getting a wider skill set. So then you'll use that, hopefully, in 75% of jobs that you'll be applying for.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar case for information technology in general. Whether you choose the information systems or computer science major, the skills are so transferable and the units you undertake are really good of expanding your knowledge in everything. So you can go from programming to project management to discrete structures. It's just, there's a lot of opportunities for when you finish and graduate.
Yeah.
I guess that just means that I feel more secure in my choice, because I've obviously chosen 2 STEM degrees. I know that maths will always be there. There'll always be a need for understanding maths, because as much as we can program things, I know that we can't program them to do things that we don't actually know ourselves, yet at least. But that kind of, the 75% means that I guess I just need to be flexible and take in as much information as I can and grow with the world, I guess, as hard as that might be.
Yeah. Well, I see it as just look at how much technology has progressed in the last few years. It means I'll always be employable, and that I don't necessarily have to work in STEM because I've learned those problem-solving skills to go into any industry, really. So I don't have to worry about the whole job market thing.
I think it's the last one.
Last one.
Oh.
Why do you think diversity in STEM is important?
I love this question.
Where do we start?
Well, everyone comes from different backgrounds, they have different life experiences, they have different ideas, and I feel like if we don't include everyone, then we're going to miss out on certain things. Like a lot of women, of course, weren't necessarily accepted in the STEM for a while, but then we look back at some of the great achievements and everything that were by women that might not have been found necessarily. So definitely need to be included and more diverse.
Yeah, well, you can't create a system for everyone if you don't consider everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't just create an opinion assuming things. So diversity is about actually understanding different perspectives and different needs, and building your systems for that, because STEM is really about advancing to the next stage. It's about the future. And we can't really build a future from one set perspective.
Exactly, yeah.
No, diversity, I love seeing the progression of diversity at QUT. It's a game changer, because it means that we're allowing more individuals to have their say in design decisions and implementations of software. It just, the more diverse that we are and the more people we can get involved of different backgrounds, the better solution we have at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also it's very inspiring seeing a different diverse, like a diverse group. As a young woman or going into STEM industry, seeing people from diverse backgrounds sort of inspires you to go into that as well.
Absolutely, and I think specifically in my case, I went into first year technology, and in a lecture room of 500 people, it'd be like a dozen of girls. So yeah, I think it's interesting to see how the numbers are growing, and I'm so excited for it to keep growing.
Yeah.
And action.
Think about the future. What issues do we need to address as a society to ensure longevity? Climate change, water scarcity, food shortages, species extinction, pandemics. With a predicted 75% of future occupations needing STEM literacy, it means that a skilled STEM workforce is central to addressing these complex issues now and into the future. We know you want to change the world in more radical ways than can be imagined, and QUT is dedicated to helping you do that, to explore ideas, innovate, and solve problems. Pursuing studies and a career in the areas of science, IT, engineering, or math will give you the knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities you'll need to drive change into the future. QUT designed their courses so you graduate future-focused. World-class lecturers will teach you the latest scientific advances and technologies and how to apply these to some of the biggest challenges we're facing in society. Challenges in agriculture and the environment, health and medical advances, technology and data security, and energy and resources. QUT also ensures you develop your problem-solving skills and critical thinking techniques, build your confidence and capacity to be agile in grasping new opportunities, as well as help you explore your entrepreneurial mindset. Whether your career aspirations are to combat climate change, analyze data to save species, develop renewable energy systems, or explore the geology of other planets, QUT has a course for you. A key feature of QUT's courses is the flexibility of tailoring them to fit your career aspirations and interests. Check out our course pages on the QUT website for the full range of study options. QUT prepares you for what you will experience in the workplace. The Work Integrated Learning Program connects you with invaluable workplace experiences. It's the perfect opportunity for putting your learning into professional practice while you gain academic credit. Through this program, you'll network with industry professionals, experience day-to-day life in your chosen career, Work on your industry-specific project from start to finish and develop your business and communication skills. Put all together, it means you'll be more competitive when you graduate. Here at QUT, students don't devour textbooks. We use them to gain the theoretical knowledge as we put our learnings into practice. We learn not only in lecture theatres, but also in the field, in the lab, in workshops, and in professional practice. You'll thrive on the opportunity to gain hands-on experience and expect to be challenged with assessments mirroring the real world in our industry-standard laboratories and workshops, using high-performance computing and visualization facilities and advanced scientific instruments. Of course, uni isn't just about studying. It's also about getting involved and experiencing new things. We have many student-led clubs, societies, projects, and teams. There really is something for everyone. There's the QUT Maths Society, Women in Science, QUT Women in Technology, Natural Resource Society, QUT Motorsports. Find your tribe, make new friends, connect with dedicated student communities, attend industry events, and work with your peers to make a difference. QUT students are keen to develop their entrepreneurial capability. And this doesn't always mean you want to be an entrepreneur or create your own startup. It means you want to explore ideas and opportunities without boundaries, without someone saying it can't be done. It's a new way of thinking. You can explore your ideas, connect with the innovator community, and undertake development programs with QUT Entrepreneurship. STEM learning is important in everyday life in our brave new world. To shape our future, we need to advance the frontiers of science, technology, maths, and data. The ability to understand and apply data and develop solutions to complex problems will be important life skills. At QUT, we learn how to think, not what to think. QUT offers programs designed to develop the expertise, skills, and knowledge suitable not only to a rapidly changing workforce, but for careers that may not yet exist. Visit qut.edu.au to learn more.